Good morning. Welcome to the Carla Marie and Anthony show here on Twitch. My name is Anthony.
I'm Carla Marie.
And let us know in the chat really quick whether you are live on Twitch. You can do that right now. You can let us know in the chat where you're watching from. Give us your name and like your city and your state. If you're on YouTube, first thing I want you to do is just go into the comments right now and say where your name and where you're watching from.
Yeah.
That's it.
You don't have to
simple.
give us your address or anything.
And as we hopefully get a hype train going, let me put this on the screen real quick. Carla Marie, I want you to grab that fortune cookie in front of you.
Yeah.
And let's get back into some fortune habits.
I see a lot of people in the chat who are from New Jersey talking about how the weather in New Jersey sucks today.
Mm-hmm.
And I just checked our weather for today because it was cold this morning. It's going to be 78 and sunny today.
So you just wanted to rub it into
Yes.
everyone in New Jersey's face?
Yeah. Because it always rains in Seattle.
Well, listen, we are at the precipice of rainy season here in Seattle, so I wouldn't talk crap right now. If this was like June, I'd start talking crap because that's when the weather really kicks off in Seattle.
Because it's spooky season.
No, I do not. I'm not a fan of the cold. Not a fan of the gray, overcast days that we're going to have for weeks at a time. What is today's fortune, Carla Marie?
All right, this is for everybody. Draw upon your special talents to charm those around you. Very witchy.
How is that witchy?
To charm those around you.
You're going to try to make everything spooky, aren't you?
All month.
So we are in the boost train, and for people on YouTube, that's when a bunch of people in the chat trigger the boost train by following the page, gifting subscriptions, subscribing themselves, gifting bits, all of that stuff. And we, I think, got up to level 7 of the boost train last week.
Yes. Oh, I meant to tell you. So a lot of the people in the chat were sending me this and like what they see on their end. And I scored. I put this. So I would see that it would go up to level 7, but Meg sent this to me.
Mm-hmm.
Someone tweeted, it appears that Twitch has uncapped hype train levels. They can now seemingly get to any level.
Oh, really?
There's also a new all-time record section that we can access.
So then this screws up kind of the whole thing that we've been doing for 2 years, which is once we achieve level 5 of the hype train, we take a shot. And I know we have a shot ready today for once we get through level 5 of the hype train.
So maybe we still keep level 5.
So no matter what, level 5 is what we're capping at. What if
we're gonna have to do that?
I guess, to keep things consistent. Level 5. Also, I saw that Lenny in Queens said that the fortune that you read, Carla Marie, is not actually a fortune. That was just advice.
Yeah, most fortunes are just advice.
Read it one more time.
Like most fortunes now in fortune cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Draw upon your special talents to charm those around you. It's also like a horoscope. It's like
it's kind of the same thing. Someone had mentioned they liked my shirt. O2 Sally said, Anthony, I love your shirt today. Thank you very much. This is another Roosevelt shirt.
I like that one.
So thank you very much to Lisa and Jen for gifting a ton of tier 1 subs to the community today. And if you notice, we got a nice little yellow bar.
Yeah, what's going on with that? That doesn't follow our aesthetic.
Well, that's why I did it. I wanted it to stand out.
I mean, it matches Piki.
It does. Pika. I don't know who Piki is.
Pikachu.
No, Pikachu. If you want to shorten it, it's Pika.
But that's weird.
Why?
Like, Piki's cute.
No, it's not. That's like a Peaky Blinder. It's going to slice you. Okay, so we did get through level 5 of the hype train. I think Robbie and Everett took us over that with her 5 gifted tier 1 subs.
We got a lot to talk about today.
We do. So
am I making this thing?
Yeah, make that. Shake it up.
Today,
shake it up, baby, now. Shake it up. Twist and shout.
Courtesy of Seattle Cocktail Club on the Carla Marie and Anthony show, we are having a kamikaze.
Okay.
Sounds very intense. Inspired by National Vodka Day, which is tomorrow, and it's a classic shooter. So it's got.
You said it sounds intense. Have you never taken a kamikaze
I don't think
shot?
so.
Oh, I've taken hundreds.
What's in it?
Vodka? Lemon? I don't know.
Tito's, triple sec, and lime.
I just know that was one of like the first things I started taking shots of when I started going into the city to like clubs and stuff.
Red-headed sluts is where I was at.
No. And I think because it is simple to make for most bartenders, it's a go-to.
Yeah. So in here they already made the cocktail mix. It's Tito's, triple sec, and lime.
Okay. Perfect.
Sorry, Tito's and triple sec. I got to do the lime.
Okay, perfect. You okay there?
Yeah, got her.
I could change the color, by the way, of the progress bar on the screen. Do you want me to change it?
Yeah.
What should we go with?
We're going to get into all the things. Are we going to talk about the wedding this weekend? Would you put on the list?
Oh, don't worry about that.
We got a lot to talk about. All
right, let's see if this actually changes it. Update. Bam. Want purple?
Ooh, Jen said orange for the season.
Oh, okay. I could do that.
Spooky season. Woohoo.
So weird sometimes.
Ooh, spooky.
There we go. Orange for October. Okay, I like that. We can change it per month. So, like, December, we'll make, like, a Christmas green or a red.
We're only going to be, didn't show for, like, 2 weeks in December.
So, what would November's color be? Because November's
Brown.
also...
Brown.
I don't think that's
Turkey
an option
brown.
here. Yeah, that's not an option. So, we'll figure something out. And we'll worry about that when we get to it. Let's get to this 700 total points. So, for the record, it says total points, even though it says sub goal on the screen. They give you points per sub. And I think if you happen to be a tier 2 or a tier 3 subscriber, it changes that point total a little bit. So 700 was the number that I feel like made sense. Oh, and we just passed another level. Level 6 complete.
Can we put turkey patterns?
But here's the thing.
My hands are too tiny.
We're in level 7 now.
There we go.
Oh, and if you look on the chat, you see that
what's
finish
that?
line?
Is that where we've been before?
I think that is where we ended last time on Thursday.
Heather on Long Island said, how high can we go? Apparently, there's no cap anymore.
How
so,
low
like,
can you go? How low can you go? Is that like the limbo? But we'll see. As long as we get to level 5, we will continue taking shots on
but if
this
we get
morning
to
show.
level 10, we have to do the other one.
Okay, that works.
Justin said everything past level 5 should require a swig of something. Hey,
So,
DJ FaZe.
What I'm going to try to do, and I don't know if anyone's seen this yet, Monster Energy just announced like their own alcoholic drink.
Jesus Christ.
So think of like the Four Loko type brands and things like that. And I know someone that works at Monster, like pretty high up, and I'm trying to get my hands on one of the first cases that comes out because they have like 8 flavors or something like that. And I want to crack it open here on the Carla Marie and Anthony show.
Sounds dangerous.
I mean, it sounds dangerous if you're irresponsible, like all alcohol. Remember,
I don't
drink
mean
responsibly.
the alcohol. I mean the caffeine part.
Oh. Well, we have caffeine. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get a case of that here. Maybe I'll get a case and we can take it to When We Were Young Fest.
I was thinking today about what am I gonna wear.
Because I actually saw that what company was it? Not C4. One of the energy companies just came out with a When We Were Young festival can. Like a special
That's
flavor
great. Are they
can
gonna
or
sell it
something.
everywhere or just in Vegas?
Probably just at the festival. And then they'll use all the extras and they'll send them to convenience stores in Vegas.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
I'm gonna do that one. It's like a little bit lower. These are very full.
All right, thank you very much to everyone who got us at the moment to level 7 of the hype train. We're 51% of the way there. Cheers to you, Carla Marie. Cheers to everyone who participated and supported, and cheers to Seattle Cocktail Club. Woo! That is cold. That's why I got to hurry it up. I don't know what you're. I don't speak. Whatever that is.
I like that.
All right, perfect. Now,
But why would it be so cold?
well, you shook it up in ice. What'd you
Yeah,
expect?
but I think these harbor the cold.
Harbor the cold.
Oof.
All right, so we got the fortune cookie out of the way. We got the shots out of the way, even though we still do have a hype train going, which is now called the boost train and is now uncapped. They really switched everything up on us. We are going to talk about our Van City weekend,
Yep.
our uninvited guest named Spotty, and are rich people allowed to complain? There's a reason I'm bringing that up, obviously. But first, Carla Marie, I saw someone in the chat asked about your Hocus Pocus 2 review.
I give it, and I actually thought about this. I've had two different ratings in my head.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the more positive one.
Okay.
I'm giving it 10 dead men's toes.
It
was gonna be 9, only because I feel like giving something a 10 means it's absolutely perfect. But
Yeah.
like, I would never give anything away, Michelle. Stop it. It was so good.
Really?
And
Better than the first?
Can't compare.
Why not?
Two completely different. Just the pace of this was so much faster.
Okay.
And just two completely different storylines. I think this was more kid friendly.
Really? Why?
The first one was not kid friendly. It was scary. It had it was pretty dirty. They talk about yabos, There's a lot of stuff in there.
D in Palm Beach said we liked it better than the first one.
I mean, it was really cute. But if you didn't watch till the end, past the credits, you should, because there's a scene.
Oh, there's an end scene.
Yep.
An end credits. Also, I want to give a shout out to Jen from New Jersey, who pushed us right over the finish line.
Cool.
And we have now reached a new all-time high in the boost train.
That's crazy.
So just a little under completing level 7.
But it was really cool because you got a backstory of the Sanderson sisters. The first scene is truly understanding who they were, where they came from, them as kids, and it plays into the whole theme of the movie. I'm not going to really reveal anything, but
Okay.
It was just so cute, and it was done so well. And the craziest thing for me was hearing the difference in their voices.
Well, yeah, they're 30 years older?
29 years older. And more and more. When was it filmed and when did it release? I don't even know. So say 30 years. Their voices sound. I was like, wait, that's not how you say book, or that's not. But it's true. It's okay, well, you're just gonna sound different. You're a whole different, person. But I think it was done very, very well.
So let's see. We have a couple different opinions in here.
Stop it.
Some people said they liked it more than the first.
Okay.
Neon Climber said I didn't like the new Hocus Pocus.
Okay,
The beginning was
well,
good, but then it was just got lost at the end.
Neon Climber, I am not even going to agree to disagree. I just disagree.
Let's see. Life is a Hike. I agree. This had a really good story and could have been used as the first movie.
Yeah, but they would have never made this in the 90s. Yeah, what Gretchen from Iowa said. I think this one was definitely easier to watch with your kids. My daughter struggled with the first one, but between this being more updated and quicker pace, she liked it better. Also, there are a lot of jokes in there for adults. Yeah.
All right. So at the end of the day, 9 witches' toes. No, what'd you give? Dead men's toes?
10 dead men's toes.
10?
Mhm.
You said 9, and you said you didn't want to give it 10.
No, I gave it 10 and literally said I wanted to give it 9, but I
thought it was the other way around.
So good.
All right. It definitely had Disney aspects to it, especially in the end. Specifically in the end.
I don't.
What do you think, Carla Marie?
I don't know.
Did your brain just malfunction?
Justin, if you watched any of the Hocus Pocus, you would know that a dead man's toe is part of one of the spells.
Is it in a pot? They have to throw a dead man's toe in
the
there?
First one.
Dead man's toe. Let's see.
There was just as much singing as the first one, just different songs.
All right. Next on the list, we're going to jump over Van City Weekend. We're going to go in chronological order here.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with Spotty, the uninvited guest.
Spotty.
So kick it off, Carla Marie.
Thursday night around 10 p.m., I am in my room packing for our weekend in Vancouver. And I hear meowing, loud and kind of screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I start looking around my room. And I'm like, that's weird. 1, 2, 3, 4. All passed out. And then Anthony's like, what is that? I go, a cat? He's like, well, and I said to him, it's not one of ours. And he goes, what do you mean?
Yeah. Well, because it sounded like it was in the house.
In the house. And I was like, he's like, what do you mean? I go, they're all right here. And he's like, and then I
So then I looked. I was trying to find where the sound was coming from because it sounded like it was coming from the closet,
Yeah.
which there very possibly could have been a cat trapped in the closet. So, but there's a window right there, and that window happened to be open. So I opened the window, the shade, and there was a cat's face just
on the
sitting there staring at me.
All I hear from upstairs is, "What the?" Or what'd you say? What the fuck?
I said, "What the f?"
Yeah.
But I said the actual word.
And I was like, he's like, "There's a cat," and I just hear him talking to it, and it's still meowing, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm coming." I come
And I thought it was gonna run away. I really.
Yeah.
Most cats, if you see a stray or something, the second they notice you, they're going to take off.
Which means it was in our yard.
Mhm.
It had to climb a fence. There's really nowhere it could have gone under at this point. We've kind of blocked it all off. Climb a very high fence. So I come running downstairs. I grab a can of food. I open the back door, and this little guy comes running right over, and he's rubbing up on me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is clearly somebody's cat. Like feral cats, they don't really do this. So I open the can, start feeding it. He's going nuts. I'm like, oh my God, he's lost, whatever. I'm like, Anthony, I need you to get me a towel, give me a phone. I start texting Motley Zoo. And this cat goes to leave. And I'm like, oh no, buddy. And I saw how he climbed the fence. And I grabbed him. I was like, you are someone's cat. You're coming inside. So I get him in the bathroom because he can't be around our cats because.
Well, we don't know where he came from.
Exactly. And it could be if he has a disease or whatever. So I lock him in the bathroom, and he's just rubbing all over me.
And this is where Carla Marie and I disagreed. I think at the end of the day, bringing him into the house was probably a good idea. But I also was trying to think of how many times we've walked around this area, and a lot of people have outdoor cats.
Agreed. So Dave C84. Thank you very much for all of those gifted subs.
10 gifted tier 1 subs. Thank you.
So my reasoning for taking him inside there was a few. One, he showed up at our window yelling inside.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this cat is clearly in distress. Second, I literally see coyotes on our street. So if this was someone's cat that got out, I would want someone to take my cat inside and take care of it and protect it overnight. So I'm like, I'm taking it in. And if it's a feral cat, then I'm taking it to the shelter and it's going to live a good life.
Yes.
So,
and like I said, I think at the end of the day, it was the right idea. But in that moment, we disagreed on whether or not we should have brought it in.
You didn't say anything though.
No, I was like, I don't know if this is someone's cat and it's an outdoor cat. You just got to let it do its thing. Because a lot of people, we go on walks in this area a lot, and we see cats, I would say, every single time. On someone's front porch, on someone's front steps or front yard. They'll come out and they'll greet people that walk by, and then they go back.
Yes, but also sometimes outdoor cats don't come home and people want them to come home. I just didn't know. So I take it inside, put it in a bathroom, give him food, water, litter box, because we have our old litter box.
Yeah.
And he's eating all of it, going nuts after the dry food. And then I shut the bathroom door, I get out, because our cats were like, what is going on? He starts screaming from the bathroom. Because this guy just had the whole world. Now I put him in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, he's going to whine all night. So I go in there with him and I pet him and he falls asleep on my legs. Then finally, he just is calm. So I go to bed. Because it's 10 p.m., I can't do anything. Next morning, 7 a.m., I pack him up. And before I take him to the vet, I drive around and look at some of the signs on posters. Because our poles are lined with missing cats. And I was searching on the Nextdoor app, everything. I couldn't find anything. So then I see a cat that looks like him, and I text and call the person. And they're like, no, I actually found Nancy. So Nancy's home safe.
So Nancy was a different cat you saw on a sign.
So I'm like, take your freaking signs down, people. So I get to the vet near my house. I bring him inside. I'm like, hey, I found this cat, which he fought me like crazy to get into that carrier. He wanted nothing to do with it. So they scan him, and I hear the beep, and I'm like, he's somebody's cat.
So he was tagged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He chipped.
So
they look him up and they're like, well, his name is Spotty, which is a weird name. That's what the vet said. And it was kind of a weird name. And they're like, I can't get any of his own information.
Well, explain why it was a weird name.
Because he wasn't really Spotty.
Okay, come on here. You can't. Well, what if he was Spotty?
It's also just a weird name.
I don't know.
So they give me his chip number and the number of the company that he's registered with. So I call them. They're like, okay, well, where are you located? We'll notify the owners. So the owner calls me, and she's like kind of frantic and frazzled. And I was like, she's like, I have 4 kids. I got to get them to school. And I was like, okay. I was like, do you want to come pick them up? She's like, I don't have a car. And I'm like, okay, I'll bring them. She's 4 blocks away.
Mhm.
And she's like, you're the 4th person to take him in and bring him to a vet and scan him. And now immediately I'm like, okay. I was like, well, I took him in because there are coyotes literally on my street and I was worried he's going to get eaten. And she said, oh, yeah, my neighbor just saw a coyote on like their front door camera the other night. And I'm like, ma'am.
This woman did not care.
No. So I'm like, are you like, I almost like don't even want to go bring him back. So I bring him back and I get him out of the carrier. She picks him up and then kind of just puts him down and like lets him like roam back into the house. And she's like, yeah, last 2 weeks ago I had to go get him in Green Lake, which mind you is like 3 miles away.
Yeah.
And like busy roads, whatever. And she lives very close to a very busy road. And I said, you better be careful. He's so friendly. Someone's going to take him in and keep him. And she goes, I know. Then she proceeds to tell me that she got kittens during COVID, and Spotty is one of their kittens. I mean, she's not fixing any of these animals.
Yeah, I think that most responsible pet owners or cat owners are not going to be fans of this woman, mainly because 4 times at least this cat has gone into other people's homes.
And that's my thing. I'm like, he's clearly like friendly enough, and for someone to get a cat in their home, it's not easy.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I mean, I don't know where she got her kittens from, if she got them from a pet store or from a shelter or whatever. But
yeah, but she got them chipped. That's what's crazy.
She got them chipped, but she didn't get them spayed or neutered unless after the first time.
He might be. I don't know. But like, why is he chipped and not neutered?
Well, I don't know. Do people get half of their cats spayed and neutered? Because obviously, if he's a descendant of the kittens they got during COVID.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the other thing, and this is the one thing we did talk about while we were driving, if she got the kittens during COVID, there were a lot of shelters and vets that were closed or overbooked. So it may have been difficult.
They weren't doing trap and release.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing regular surgeries, I believe, though. Like regular as in I'm booking it and I'm paying whatever. They weren't doing the volunteer part of their job.
Let's see. So Nick NYC said, so this lady got 4 kids and decided to get a cat. Now poor animal gets lost several times and 3 miles away at Green Lake. Yeah, that's a lot.
I wonder what like the chip company thinks.
I mean, the good thing is, yeah, that's interesting. They probably get calls all the time for this cat. The good thing is the cat did look very healthy.
He did.
And it was a happy cat. It was fine. It is interesting, though.
Oh, by the way, he was only like a year old.
It is interesting, though. The idea of an outdoor cat, if you have a domesticated cat, is kind of an oxymoron. Like they're also terrors.
Yeah, your brother was
to the natural environment around them.
Yes.
Now, granted, we're in a city, so they're not throwing off the ecosystem more than humans have done.
Right.
But when you go out into a more of a rural area, they can wreak havoc on a lot of the ecosystem because they're killers. At the end of the day, cats are killers.
They're predators.
And they're really good at it. Like if you ever watch your cat with a fly or a bug in the house, they're very good at killing things. Also, I saw that Jen was in the chat, and I want to jump forward for a second and give a huge shout out to 2 people, one of which is Realtor Jen, who completed hold on. I know Base to Space is the name of the run.
So you've done it, but you run the steps of the Space Needle, which you don't normally take. You take the elevator up. But you run the steps. It goes to a great organization. But Jen ran it in her You Look Great shirt.
As did, let me find the other picture. So shout out to Jen. Everyone can throw some hand clap emojis.
And her husband, but he didn't wear You Look Great. So.
Or some You Look Great emojis in there. Or emotes. And
Danny B.
Danny B did it as well.
And it was weird. I don't know if you guys saw each other. I don't know if you were different waves or whatever, because it seems like it's different timing. I was like, wait, what? 2 people? And then Danny B also said that she was powered by Seattle Gummy Company.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I actually had. Oh, here we go. This is for the Van City talk later. Talk about Seattle Gummy Company. But I will say, you mentioned that I did it before
Yeah,
Carla Marie did
I
the
didn't
base to
do it.
space. I did it by surprise. I woke up one morning, went to work, and our producer at the time, Brent, he used to do these challenges. What? And he said, all right, all you need to know for tomorrow's challenge is you need to wear like something athletic. And we showed up. Carla Marie got to take the elevator all the way to the top of the Space Needle, and I had to run it.
You know, we did all these
With no preparation.
We did all these cool things before Instagram Reels and TikTok existed, and like no one knows about it. You know?
Yeah, we got set on fire. We got it
Like I gotta find all these videos.
tackled by German Shepherd guard dogs.
Not only did you run the Space Needle, we walked the rim, which they don't do anymore. Walked the rim of the Space Needle. Lots of skydiving.
Skydiving 3 times, which we're still on their website for Skydive Snohomish, and people will randomly message me and say, hey, look who I found on Skydive Snohomish. Let's see in the chat real quick. You want to read that, Carla Marie? The highlighted message?
Jordan and Puyallup. Hey, everyone. Just want to brag for one moment. Friday, I passed my securities exam, and I am officially an investment advisor representative.
Congratulations.
I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds awesome.
Congratulations. That looks awesome. I also saw someone saying in the chat earlier that they were checking in from the hospital.
I missed that.
And I missed anything that came into the chat after that regarding a hospital visit. So please let us know if you're okay or what you're in the hospital for, if you feel like sharing that with the class.
People are still fired up about the cat, too.
People are still fired up about the cat.
I'm glad I feel like a lot of the world has outdoor cats. And, like, listen, go ahead, have your outdoor cat. I do not agree at all, and that's just my opinion. There are people that are like, I don't agree with keeping cats indoors. Like, my brother will say that to me when I'm like, I don't believe in aquariums and like, whales being put and dolphins being put in pools, and he's like, well, your cats are inside. I'm like, my cats would die in an hour.
So there's a huge difference. The difference is there are no domesticated whales. Like, yeah, there are whales that have been born in captivity, but those animals have not been domesticated. The cats that we have today and the dogs that we have today are domesticated animals. They've been domesticated over tens of thousands of years.
And Motley Zoo will not let you adopt an animal if you at all mention it's going to be an outdoor animal. They'll even look at your past vet records, everything, to see if you have outdoor animals or whatever it may be, and they won't let you have a pet. And I remember someone wanted to adopt Erica and John or Ricky and Jake cats. It was like early on. And they're like, oh, we have an adopter. And then they're like, oh, never mind. The adopter lost their cat and watched it get eaten by a cougar on their Ring camera and said it was so sad, but, you know, they don't believe in keeping cats inside, so they would want these two to be outdoor.
So the thing to think about is there is no evidence supporting that domesticated cats should be outside. They die sooner. They're terrible for the ecosystem. They're not as healthy.
Spread disease.
There's no evidence saying or alluding to the fact that domesticated cats should be outdoor cats. There are almost no positives. I can't think of any. Yeah. So, and I know my brother said that cats are semi-domesticated. They've only been domesticated for 2,000 years. 2,000 years is a long time to breed an animal to not be outside. But it is interesting.
They rely on people at this point.
The one interesting thing, and we've seen
in
this.
The backyard.
We've seen this more with Erica the cat. Who there's an emote in there if you want to see her. She is the multicolored cat. What do they call those? Tortoise? No.
She's a calico.
Calico. Isn't there a tortoise or something?
Tortoiseshell.
Yeah. What color is that?
It's one less color.
Oh, okay. What are you trying to do there?
Tortoiseshells are just brown and black. Erica's brown, black, and white.
Yeah, so I just saw a couple people. There you go. You see Erica's face bouncing up and down on the screen. The interesting thing about Erica, and this is with the one thing, even with domesticated animals, their natural instincts do kick in.
It's crazy.
And watching her hunt, chase, and attack bugs.
And she does
in the house.
chirps.
No one taught her that.
No. But there are also human things that I'm sure that if we weren't raised in like society and were raised in the woods that we would naturally do. I don't know.
Let's see. Nick NYC said outdoor cats. It's BS. Everyone whom I know who had outdoor cats, sooner or later, they disappeared.
Yeah.
Got away, got eaten. It's like leaving a person from Seattle in a gigantic cave naked, thinking that person's going to make it somehow. It's true.
They live shorter. Like someone like, well, they lived a better life. I'm like,
I don't know about that.
it's fucking cold.
I don't know. And
My
I
cat
guess you'd have to have
life.
you'd probably have to have a cat door, right?
Or you let it out every day.
So my cousins used to have an outdoor cat growing up in Westwood, New Jersey, and they lived. Their backyard led into a full-on forest. Like we'd go for hundreds and hundreds of feet in. There was a lot of wooded area back there, and their cat got out when it was younger, came back that night, and then I guess at that point they decided they could have an outdoor cat because it would keep coming back. And there were 1 or 2 nights where it wouldn't come back, but once it became an outdoor cat, or semi-outdoor cat at least, they had essentially a garbage can full of dead animals this thing would bring back. And granted, they were animals that most people think of as pests, like possums and raccoons and whatnot.
But that's how they get rabies and
But
die.
It would bring back, it would bring back an animal almost every day. And that was its gift. That was like its gift saying, hey, I hunted for you. Here's a possum.
It's less a gift and more, I don't think you're capable. Here is.
Yeah, it's a gift.
Well, that's what the idea with cats bringing in their owner's prey is. They don't think that we are capable of taking care of ourselves, so they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Caroline does it to me all the time with her mouse toy. She comes, I'll hear her playing with it, screaming, whatever, and then she comes and just drops it in front of me, and I'm like, thank you.
And I don't know if my brother is yelling at me because he said still needed for the ecosystem. And that's what I meant. Most people think of these animals as pests, but they are still needed for the larger ecosystem, especially when there's a forest right there.
Okay, Marijuana said, outdoor cat is insane. Imagine just letting your dog out every morning, like, see you later. Okay, great point.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's where it gets funny. Growing up, we had a Shih Tzu. His name was Binky. And that's what my parents did. They would open the door to let him, like, when I tell you this dog was never walked on a leash ever.
So he would take himself for walks.
He would take himself for walks.
But how long was he gone?
Hours.
Oh, really?
Hours.
That's wild.
And all the time, I'm like, first of all, you'd be in jail if it were today. I would never, like, if I saw someone doing that with their dog, first of all, that dog would be picked up and taken to the vet.
Yeah.
The fact that in the 90s, my mom said, I think maybe he was brought home once because he had his collar.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, several walks this dog would go on. And sometimes we'd just call his name and he would come running.
That's crazy.
But we live like near an insanely busy road. Like, it's whatever one step below a highway would be is what we live next to. So that's one thing. But like, you would just see him prancing down the street, coming on his way back home. And my mom was like, oh yeah, he's probably got all these girlfriends. That's another thing. He wasn't fixed.
So he impregnated the whole neighborhood.
Yeah. And this fucker lived to 17.
So how did he go? Like, did you put him down or was he like hit by a car or something?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think he got really sick and they ended up putting him down at the vet.
That's crazy though. The fact that dog went outside and took himself on walks all the time and didn't get hit by a car in North Arlington, New Jersey,
Absurd.
There's not a lot of open space for a dog to hang out in North Arlington, New Jersey.
And with Spotty showing up and me telling my family he was an outdoor cat, whatever, my mom was like, I said to her, I'm like, I cannot believe that we let Binky do this. And by the time he died, I was 11.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad got him as a gift for my mom right before they got engaged. So he'd been around a while.
As we pivot, thank you very much to Julie for subscribing with Prime. If you do have a Prime subscription with Amazon, it does give you a free subscription to any channel you choose every month on Twitch. So if you aren't subscribed to anyone, feel free to do that. And while Carla Marie's gone, I'm going to do a quick little plug here. Carla Marie's about to tell you how hungover she was after the wedding that we went to. And that's because we didn't take these with us to the wedding that we went to in Vancouver. So mocha shots from Seattle Gummy Company. These are the energy shots. You may have heard me talk about them in the podcast this morning. Basically, there's 2 gummies in here. Each gummy has as much caffeine as a cup of coffee. And then these guys are the Recover gummies. So think of like Gatorade in a gummy. And I don't think they're allowed to advertise it like this, but if you take one of each when you're hungover, it does wonders. Like absolute wonders. Anytime I go to Vegas, I usually take one of each pack. That way, when I wake up in the morning, I pop each of those gummies, and I'm good to go. So you got which flavor is this? Salted caramel, and that's the energy one, and then the apple ginger, which I actually love the way this one tastes. This is the Recover gummy. So normally this is for when it's like post-workout. You usually grab 2 to 4 of them. BCAA support. What else is in here? Vitamin B.
Look at my man.
Ginger.
Look, he's my whole body.
It's John's season. Spooky season.
It is.
For the black cat.
Johnny, what are we going to do this month? Do you want to go on a walk?
Okay, we're not going to. This isn't cat talk.
We should do cat talk, John.
You can do cat talk on your own channel.
No, I'll do it on our channel, just not during our show.
Okay, that's fine. Let's see. So Life is a Hike said, say what, I'm headed out of the country for a wedding soon. I need a supply of those. And I should have mentioned this earlier. If you do go to SeattleGummyCo.com,
yeah,
and you use code CMA, those letters CMA, you get 15% off your entire order. So,
can you please look at this man right now?
Little shy boy.
John, man, it's okay.
I've never seen that.
No, John, man, how do you know people are there? Johnny.
All right, we got to focus here.
No. This is too good. Look, this is his paw. John, man.
Who is in here? Oh, Diana in Vermont said a Recover gummy, a mocha shot gummy, and water works like magic every time.
Yeah, we didn't have the Recover. I had to get Gatorade, and that actually gave me new life. But
normally we usually have packs of these anytime we go. Like when we went to not Coachella, Stagecoach. We had a bunch of these for everyone, and everyone took 2 gummies, 1 of each, every morning, and everyone was fantastic. It really does wonders.
Yeah.
Is he good? Or are you just reading the chat? What's going on?
I don't know. I think he's good. Look at his yellow eyes. He looks so much like his little emote.
I think the artist who made the emotes did a phenomenal job.
Hey.
All the cats actually do look like themselves. Erica probably looks the best.
Erica looks so much like that.
But it's probably easier to make her look unique because she's so colorful. All right, let him go. He's a free-range cat indoors.
Yeah. I take my cats into our backyard area, so it's fenced in.
You're using backyard. You used it
Side yard?
It's a patio. There's no real yard.
It's more than a patio.
There's no grass.
Sure there is.
There's fake grass.
Yes, that is.
There's this much.
Okay.
Fake
you know what?
grass.
When you buy a home, you can
But
talk
it's just
about
not a
it.
yard. You're making it sound like we've got an actual yard.
It's a yard.
It's a patio.
Google what a yard needs to be. Like I imagine that it's got to be at least a yard.
Oh God!
shape.
Hold on. I got my Be Real notification.
We're not doing it.
I got 2 minutes left. Why are you being a jerk off?
Okay.
Here, get in here.
Man, my cheeks. They're so big.
There we go.
So, I take the cats into my yard, and Caroline and Max, I've never really had a problem, except for the one time Max escaped under the fence, but we've now stopped that from happening. And I started taking Erica and John out there as well. And John just chills, but I have to chase him to come back inside. He refuses to come back inside. One day I was grilling and they're all out there with me and I hear like a weird sound and I turn around and Erica is standing on the fence. Sitting like on this top. And I was like, oh, I dropped like the grill spatula and I go running and I was like, and I scooped her and I put her inside. And this was, mind you, I couldn't get this cat to come outside. She was too scared. And now then she did that. So I watch her like a hawk when I'm outside with her, but that cat is something.
I refuse to take more than one cat outside at a time.
And then
it's because it's not enjoyable at that moment for me.
I know. When I first moved into the house, I one day walked out and walked to go to Watson's counter, which isn't too far. And I came back and I saw these people from afar outside of my house. And I was like, well, that's weird. What are they doing? And I see them ringing my doorbell. And I'm like, well, I don't want to go up there. And then I see them like looking on the side. And I come walking up and they're like, oh, you have a cat right there. And I'm like, what? Caroline must have ran out when I walked out in the bushes because she loves eating the bushes and was sitting in the bushes screaming.
So maybe you're a bad cat owner.
And I picked her up and I was like, I'm going to kill this cat. And then they were like, oh.
Merrick gave us a hydrate reminder, so we're going to do that. Also, Marijuana said they've got a multi-level, what is it, like a cat enclosure in their backyard.
I want to get one.
There's a house not too far from us, a couple blocks away, that has a huge 2-level, maybe even 3-level catio built into the side of their house, and the cats enter it. There's 2 of them
Through the window.
Through the upstairs window. There's like a little ladder and a little ramp, and then whenever they choose, they can come in and out. And I like that idea because A, they get outdoor time if they want, and whether you have an outdoor cat or a dog or whatever, I don't like the idea of like the animal door, because then like any animal can come through.
Right.
A rat, a raccoon, a possum, they're all welcome.
Yeah, imagine.
An eagle. I don't know.
So I talked to my vet about fleas and the cats, and I said, I bring them outside. They don't they don't roam around without me. They're like, so the chance that they can get something is obviously higher because they do go outside, but because they aren't generally coming in contact with other animals, it's not as bad. Doesn't mean that there aren't things around, but
and because you don't have a yard, since there's no grass, there's probably less of a chance since you only have a patio.
Jen, who's a realtor, said you can call it an outdoor space. Patios are a part of outdoor spaces.
You have an outdoor space with no grass.
Okay, do you realize that people have yards and don't have grass?
Who?
People.
What's there? Dirt?
Erica's sister in Arizona.
Yeah, it's because grass isn't supposed to grow in Arizona.
Okay, so no one in Arizona has a yard. If you have a rock in your backyard.
Yeah, but she's got a pool in there. If you have a pool in it, you've got a yard.
This man. Sometimes the way your brain thinks is just so
amazing.
Idiotic.
Amazing is the answer. Let's see. Oh, Diva Woman said, I had a door. Big mistake. I'm assuming you mean a pet door, like a dog or a cat door.
Oh, my God.
What you need to let us know what came through.
Yeah.
Let us know in that chat. So, Spotty, we got through Spotty. He's home, hypothetically.
Is he, though?
With his person.
He's probably out here.
And then Van City weekend. So we did go up. This is pretty short, but we drove up to Vancouver on Friday for our friend Derek's wedding. Derek was basically our first Seattle friend. Mm-hmm. And I like to say that he adopted us when we got to Seattle. He was a salesperson for iHeartRadio here in Seattle. And right when we got here, he helped us, figure out neighborhoods to live in. He suggested restaurants, took us out to bars.
Yep.
I mean, within the first month and a half, we were driving up to Whistler because his now wife, but then girlfriend, lived in Vancouver, and they would go out to Whistler all the time, and he found out that we liked doing that, so he took us with him. Basically our adopted Seattle dad.
Yeah. That's weird.
Even though he's younger than me and a little older than you.
Yeah.
But the drive up to Vancouver from Seattle is 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
We didn't hit traffic for the first time going to Vancouver. That was cool.
And actually, both ways at the border were pretty clear.
For
you
us.
have to stop, obviously.
Yeah.
But there were maybe 3 or 4 cars in front of us at the border, which for some reason, it's always coming back to the States.
But we saw when we were going into Vancouver, it was backed up to come into America for miles.
Yeah, and I think it's more often than not like that, coming back to America. I don't know why it's rarely that busy going to Canada.
It's crazy. We're in another country yesterday. It's wild to me.
Because at some point, it would have to balance out, right?
Yeah.
Like, all those people coming to America or coming back from America would have to turn around. I don't know.
No testing whatsoever is need to be done to go into Canada unless you don't have a vaccine. But we filled out the whole thing, and they didn't even ask for it.
Yeah.
And also, as of Saturday, we went on Friday, there's 0 requirements.
Yeah, they dropped all the requirements on Saturday, so we had to fill out. And I think by the time we got there Friday early afternoon or late afternoon. No, early afternoon. I think all of the border agents were probably just like, this is done tomorrow. I'm not checking any of this nonsense. It doesn't matter. But yeah, now I don't think there's any restrictions at all between U.S. and Canada.
Nope.
For the first time in 2 years. It's crazy. Let's see. So they don't ask for it because when you submit it, it goes directly. Oh, okay. So
how do they know?
So when they scan your passport, then the fact that you tied the app to your passport, I guess, triggers something in their computer.
Then why not get a QR code?
Just in case.
So no, I don't believe you need to use it. We used Arrive but you don't have to anymore because we went on Friday. Restrictions ended on Saturday.
Yeah. Let's see. Angela said it's horrible coming back. We have a hard time when we go for powwows. They always question our cultural stuff, especially eagle feathers. Well, I wonder, is there?
You can't.
If it's not for native ceremonial purposes, are you allowed to have eagle feathers?
I bet not. But eagles are American. They should be allowed to come back into America.
Well, the animal is. I don't think anyone's stopping the animal from going over the border.
Yeah, you think there's some birds that live in both countries?
What are you talking about?
Isn't that cool?
Of course they do.
Like, there's an eagle that's just like, I don't got to follow the rules. I'm just going to Canada.
Are you high? It's the whole bird migration thing.
I know, but they can migrate to the same country.
All right. I think Carla Marie's high. So Scotty said I did arrive Can 2 months ago, but what we've learned
is that they don't look at it because you put in your passport. When they scan your passport, it pops up on their screen.
I did see that. So Fred the Mailman said I have global entry, so when I'm allowed to use Nexus lanes, he's allowed to do that by himself.
That's great.
So our friend Derek.
Oh, that's right.
What?
He had that, but when he was with us.
So Derek used to drive, whether he was taking the bus or driving, he would travel to Vancouver basically like every other weekend to see, at the time, his girlfriend, now his wife. And when we went up with him, he wasn't able to take the Nexus lane because obviously if you drive that often, you pay the extra fee. And all you have to do at that point is you have your Nexus card in your window. You drive by slowly, it scans it, and you're good to go. But everyone in the car has to have it. So we held him up at the border way longer than he was used to when he was our Canadian chaperone.
But yeah, the wedding was super cool. We did like a full-blown photo shoot at the wedding because that was like their photo booth was like a photo shoot.
Yeah.
It was so cool. And it was awesome. Like, it was fun to meet their families. And I mean, they've been together for 12 years and just got married.
Yep.
Which is wild, but.
And I think part of that is.
They were young.
Well, not even that. A lot of people, while they were making their speeches.
Making fun of them.
We're making fun of the fact that it took 12 years. But they're in different countries.
Yeah.
I know Derek for a long time. They were trying to figure out which country they were going to live in. And I think they started with her paperwork first, trying to get her to America. And that was going to take forever. Then they decided, you know what, let's switch it. Then Derek, it took him a couple months to get his paperwork. He just became a permanent resident in Canada. And then the pandemic hit. So all of that, it probably would have been closer to 9 or 10 years. If it wasn't for all of the craziness.
But also, like, getting married in your 30s, I feel like
there's no
the
rush.
way to be.
If you're going to be with someone for the rest of your life, there's no need to rush it.
I mean, that's the thought. Wait, Jess from Minnesota. Where are you? Oh, wait. Where are you from? I know this. Germany? No.
Well, the other thing that I learned, so I'm not going to say the name of the company or the name of the person because this is probably illegal. But there's someone who we met at the wedding who works for a company that's based in Canada, but they live not here in Seattle, but in the Washington area. And they have to often go to Canada for meetings, but when they cross the border, they're not allowed to say, their company suggests that they don't say they're going for a work meeting. They have to say they're going for training. Because if they're going for a work meeting, I guess at that point you need a work visa to go across. But if you say you're training, you don't need a work visa. Or some weird stipulation like that. And they've been working for that company for a long time. But it's just an easier way. If you have to go for a day,
Yeah.
you don't need to apply for a work visa. It's kind of crazy.
Stupid. Kayla in Centralia said, I've been engaged since December 2019. Just started to plan the wedding for 2024. And I'm 34. I'm with my person, but there were other more important expenses like buying a house.
Yep. And buying a house is something that, I mean, I don't think we're going to have another housing collapse like we did in like 2009, but buying a house is something that you should always do sooner rather than later because it's only going to get more expensive. And if you're trying to decide whether to buy a house that you're going to live in and be able to take out more loans and really set yourself up financially or have a party, the answer is probably buy the house.
Yeah.
If you want, get the paperwork, right? You could be legally married for all the other things that you want to be able to do. But when you're talking about where you're putting that money, if you've got a crap ton of money and it doesn't matter,
right?
Who cares? Do whatever you want. Which brings us to our next point.
Okay.
Are rich people allowed to complain? And I'm going to
marry the house, date the payment.
I am going to make sure that our phone line is up and running. Because if anyone feels like calling, I want you to be able to do that. What are you doing? He's not coming. Just leave him alone. Hold on. Let me make sure that we are logged in. There we go. Okay, perfect. And even if you don't feel like calling us right now, you can always text us. The number is 201-908.
Nope. That's your phone number.
No, that's not my phone number.
Mine and yours phone number.
The number is 201-305-0894.
Like, do you know your own social security number?
Sometimes. 201-305-0894. There we go. Text us your name and your city and state. That way we can save you in our system. And when you do call, we know it's you. So, back to, are rich people allowed to complain? I was on Twitter yesterday, and apparently Patrick Mahomes' wife, Brittany Mahomes, who has her and Patrick's brother have received their fair share of social media criticism for trying to be influencers basically based on Patrick Mahomes' success. So Brittany went onto Twitter and got dragged for something that she said. So she was essentially complaining about the fact that they started building this house when their first child was born 2 years ago.
Okay.
She's now pregnant with her second child, and they're still working on the house.
Okay, I see people talk about this all the time on social media.
But here's the thing.
If you're building your own house.
She's not building a house. Patrick Mahomes is worth $500 million.
Well, it's still an inconvenience to her life.
It's an inconvenience. It's also their second mansion.
They have a home.
You already have one home, and it's huge.
Now, what was
and
the
everything
complaint?
is taken care of.
What
was
did
basically
she say?
just.
Was it like, I can't wait to get into my house?
No. Here, it was. Let me pull it up. Started with building a house when I was pregnant with Sterling. I'm now about to have another child and ... still working on the house. Life is fun. But it was clearly like a sarcastic life is fun. Like, oh my God, my life is so hard. So people started dragging her on Twitter. But my question is, just because you're rich, are you not allowed to complain about
Well, how do you explain it? Like, everything is your own. You do a good job at explaining things, and I'm like, oh, I'm complaining about this, but people are way worse off.
Yes. Hard is hard. Hard for you is still hard for you, right? It doesn't matter if life is harder for someone else if you're still going through pain, right? If you get fired and someone says, oh, people have it worse than you, they're dying on the streets. You go, yeah, but that's just not my life.
Right.
I'm still allowed to be sad or angry or upset in my situation. But when you're a public figure and you're super rich, not even like a little bit rich, we're talking about generational money that Patrick Mahomes is getting. If you're at $500 million on your contract,
and he's young,
and he's got Adidas contracts and State Farm and all of the other money that he's got coming in, By the end of his career, Patrick Mahomes will most likely have $1 billion.
Yeah.
Therefore, his wife will also have $1 billion.
Not accidentally. I pinned a comment to the top of the chat.
Yes.
I've never done that before. Cindy K says, big Brit fan. That's his wife. She was a professional athlete before Patrick, has her own business independent of him.
Okay. I don't think you can argue that Patrick Mahomes is more successful.
Well, yeah, of course.
What was she an athlete? Was she a college athlete, a pro athlete?
I don't.
I know more about Patrick Mahomes' brother than I do about his wife. And the conversation really isn't just about Brittany Mahomes. It's more about should rich people be going on social media complaining about how hard their rich lives are, building their second mansion?
Martha said, anyone can complain. It's just on different levels. Feelings are feelings.
True.
Still annoying, though, what she said.
And I think it's also when you're dealing with most likely what's going to officially fall into a recession. You're dealing with inflation. You're dealing with people who are like struggling just to stay in their homes. And you're out here like,
And they're Mahomes.
I can't even, my house isn't done yet.
It's very Kardashian of that.
Yeah.
Of her, I feel. But also, again, I complain about things where there are probably people much worse off than me that are like, shut up, bitch.
Yeah.
So-
Cindy said she is the owner of, can you scroll down?
It's pinned.
Yeah, but okay. Owner of the women's soccer team and is building the first stadium dedicated to women's soccer in the world. That's pretty cool. You're clicking a lot of things there. What's going on? It is all relative.
Michelle said she should have texted her rich friend group.
And you know what? I think that is
That's true.
something that she could have done. She could have just complained to her other rich friends who deal with the same nonsense.
But it's me. Meech said they're likely paying for 2 homes during this process. I would hate to waste money no matter how much money I had.
But I don't think once one home is completed, they're selling the other. I think these are both of their homes.
Fuck you. I hate invalidating people's feelings, but
Yeah. And this is one of those things like I'm not trying to say she's like, it's hard to make fun of someone and also to remind people like we're also not trying to dehumanize someone, right? She's got feelings, she's pregnant, she's dealing with a lot of things. It's a home situation.
No. Are your
But-
feelings justified? Yes. Then you need to tweet it? No.
Are they justified? You've got another house. Go live in it.
Coast to Coast, Kiara said, I was just going to bring up Kardashian season 2 of their new show, which I haven't watched yet. They said, it feels like they're just trying to get sympathy, and even when they're going through BS, I have a hard time caring. Well, in the first season, Chloe moves into her new house. She's like, oh, finally, my house is done. And she's like, a lot of that.
Yeah, context is everything, says I'm a firecracker. There's no universal reality. Everyone's perspective is from their own point of view.
Yep.
While I may think it's ridiculous, I also think her feelings are totally valid. It's fair. Vicky Vitz, know your audience. I think that's another part of it too. And especially,
I'm sorry.
what? Did you say I'm sorry?
It's
Oh.
so bad.
You know, especially in a John stayed with me. In a state like Missouri, where for those who are unaware, Kansas City is, it's not like it's a super wealthy state. So even if you're speaking to a lot of people who are part of Patrick Mahomes' fan base in that city, maybe it's just not a good look. Let's see. She's far along in her pregnancy. Maybe she can't travel between the two homes. Fair. That is fair. Oh, and this is, I guess, timing also works out too. Angela in Spokane said her feelings would be valid if millions didn't just lose their homes from Hurricane Ian. Also very true. And these are the conversations that I love when there isn't a right answer. I think the best discussions, the best conversations to have, the best arguments to have are when there is no right answer, because there isn't. Can she complain? Of course she can. She can say whatever she wants, and Twitter is, for the most part, a free space where you can complain about whatever you want. What you got there?
Erica Shea. Not
Yeah.
camera shy cat.
was trying to get out and you didn't let him out.
What were the people saying on Twitter in response to her?
Some of the tweets. I mean, it was typical. Read the room. What, Carla Marie?
I was just showing Erica something to look at.
Let's see. Someone said, I think y'all have 500 million opportunities to get it done this week if you really wanted to.
It's kind of nice
Isn't
to
this
know.
your second house?
No, but it's kind of nice to know that rich people also deal with like things like permits and builders and backups and stuff.
Yeah, but they have other homes they can go to.
Yeah. Well, and it's it's such a great point. On any given day, we can invalidate our own complaints
Absolutely.
because someone is always going to be worse off. I do that all the time. And it helps me get out of stuff, but it's also like, okay, but your feelings are somewhat justified. But like, there are things that I would never complain about on social media because
Like what?
I don't know, like right off the bat, but like, having to pay a mortgage. Yeah, I bought a house. Like, I don't know. Like, there's just different things. Student loans, I'll complain about that for days.
Just Jen Realtor said, if you've been waiting, obviously knows about waiting for homes.
Yeah.
If you've been waiting and inconvenienced for years, I get the feeling. But yes, know your audience. And I do think the amount of money you have is directly related to how much sympathy people are going to have for you.
Yes.
I think if your family is worth $500 million and this is your second home, you're just not going to get sympathy from the public, which is why you probably shouldn't go to a public forum like Twitter to complain about it. Now, do the Mahomes probably have a ton of rich friends that deal with like, oh my God, my vacation home's piping just burst. I need to pay someone to go fix it, and our weekend in Italy is ruined. Maybe. I'm sure they do have someone they can complain to about that. But maybe not everybody.
Also, so Hurricane Sandy hit Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
And so many homes were ruined. I'd say 90% of those homes were people's second homes.
Yes.
Did we care?
Less than if it was absolutely less than it was if their primary home. If that is not the only time you're going to get full sympathy is if everything you have in that residence, that's all you've got.
Yeah.
And you no longer have a roof over your head. Is it a financial burden if your vacation home gets wiped out by a hurricane? Mm-hmm. It absolutely is. And that stinks. And just because there are a lot of places, New Jersey, I know in Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine, a lot of people have like lake houses and stuff.
Yeah.
Just because you have one of those doesn't necessarily mean you're rich, but you're not going to get the sympathy, the same sympathy at least, that you would for someone who lost their only home. If you got two cars and one of them's crashed, you still have another one to drive around. If you got one car and it gets wrecked, that sucks.
Well, I'm going to start thinking of one weekly thing I want to complain about in a no judgment zone.
What would your complaint be this weekend or this week?
Oh, then I'm going to have to sit at the hair salon for so many hours to get my hair done.
You know, when we going back to the wedding real quick, and then we're going to wrap up and get out of here. The funniest thing, I think, for any couple is preparing for a big event. The day of the wedding, we got some breakfast, got back to the hotel, and for about, an hour and a half to 2 hours, you were like getting all your stuff ready. How long would you say you took to get ready on Saturday?
Hour and a half, maybe.
Hour and a half. I woke up about 30 minutes from a nap, about 30 minutes before we had to be in the venue, which was across the parking lot, essentially. It was a parking lot distance. It wasn't long. There was no street.
No parking lot.
The distance of it would have been like a parking lot. It wasn't.
What?
Well, okay, what would you say? It was across what? Across the way? What does that mean?
The what? Honestly,
what does that mean?
Like, it was 2 buildings over. Like,
but there were no buildings in the way.
It was a building over. Like, we were in one building. There was another building. And then it was the next building. A parking lot could be anything from an alley to a mall. You can't say a parking lot size.
Anyway, it was a little bit away from it was a walk away from where our hotel was. And I woke up about 25, 30 minutes beforehand, showered, put my suit on, done. Getting ready as a guy is so much easier. So much easier.
Okay, are you done? Apparently, says Sheen, Little Feather passed away.
Yeah. You did the story about her recently. She was
Yeah.
being she was the woman
Honored.
who, God, what year was it?
The Oscars,
When-
Marlon Brando was around.
And Marlon Brando let her take his time in accepting his award. How many football fields? It was one football field. One football
Not
field away.
even. Yeah, so she is the Native American who spoke at the Oscars because at the time Native Americans weren't properly, like, obviously being featured in films, and if they were, it was not Native American actors playing. It was just a whole thing, rightfully so. And she got like attacked and booed, and it was insane. And the Oscars now were kind of like coming back and re-honoring her and being like, we're sorry for what you went through. You should have had more support. Like, you had a voice, and she was in her 70s now.
She was 75 when she passed away.
And I guess and that's crazy because they just honored her a few months ago.
All right. Also, I want to give a shout out to Gabby from Miami who texted in this morning to let us know, to let us save her info. Jesselyn from Washington. Shanna FC. Who else? We got Natalie from Buffalo, New York. A bunch of people texting us. So you can always text us 201 for New Jersey, 305 for Miami, 089 for lunch. So go ahead and text us your name and your city/state. That way, if you ever call, we'll know right away, and we don't have to do that whole like, oh, hello, who's this? Can you hear me? Blah, blah, blah. What? Oh, are they fighting?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as the cats fight, we are going to say thank you very much for hanging out with us. For anyone who was trying to listen to the morning show podcast earlier.
Oh, yeah. There was like a bug. And
it wasn't downloading. There was a little glitch, I guess, with, what are you doing? Sit still. Shaking around. There was a bug with Acast, which is the platform we use to host. It looks like everything is working now. And we'll see you later.
Peace out, Cub Scouts.
You look great.
You look great.